Welcome to another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies of April 30th, 1999. We only got two movies to look at today, so there you go, the two right there. So let's get right to them, and let's start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is Sean Connery and Catherine Zeta-Jones in Entrapment. This is certainly a very interesting film. You basically have a plot where you have a police investigator played by Catherine Zeta-Jones and this professional thief played by Sean Connery. They team up to attempt a heist at the turn of the new millennium, and we're expected to believe that Sean Connery and Catherine Zeta-Jones not only work on this together, but they actually end up with a romantic relationship. And a lot of people said the same thing about him and Michelle Pfeiffer in the Russia House almost 10 years prior to this, but the big differences between that one and this film is that Michelle Pfeiffer at the time was about 32 years old in 1990 when that came out. Sean Connery was 60 years old. Now, Sean Connery is coming up on near 70 at this point, and Catherine Zeta-Jones is pretty much 30 years old, and so we're expected to believe this relationship between these two, but it's a little bit too much to ask, but as far as the film itself goes, I think it works, and let's be honest, the only thing that we really remember from this movie is that famous shot of Catherine Zeta-Jones going through the traps and all that, moving around like that. In fact, let's show it again, just for the hell of it. I mean, come on, that's all you really remember from this movie, and but the movie itself is not bad. It's actually a fun action film. It works well enough where you can watch it and you can see what's going on and be like, okay, I can buy into this. At least I could buy into it. It's a very stylish film. It has some great visuals and some great stunt work overall. I mean, that shot at the end, that scene at the end of the trailer where Sean Connery and Catherine Zeta-Jones are on that are hanging like that. Like that's what, if you can tell they put effort into this. They were trying to make something intriguing and interesting, despite the fact that the two leads are very much May-December in their age brackets. But this is directed by John Emile, whose last film was the infamous The Man Who Knew Too Little with Bill Murray. And looking at some of the other films he's done, this might be his best overall film. Which, when you consider films like Summersby, Copycat, The Core, it's not really that much of a surprise that this is his best film overall. But it's a fun movie, man. I actually really enjoy it. I think the chemistry works just enough to make it an acceptable film. Like, I think you really can buy into this relationship, even though there's a huge 40-year-old age difference between the two leads in here, and you're supposed to believe their chemistry and somewhat of a romantic chemistry, but it works well enough because the actors are putting their all into it, especially Catherine Zeta-Jones, man. I mean, she's not only is she looking incredibly sexy in this, but she really does command the screen. I mean, she really does show her potential as an actress that maybe people probably didn't see from The Mask of Zorro. I mean, it definitely shows in here why she went on to become the great actress that we know her as now. But it's a real fun movie. Nothing too spectacular, nothing too grand. It's just a good, fun action film that has a lot of elements that work about it. Very few things that don't really work about it overall, but it's a really fun film. I had a really good time watching it. I go back to it every once in a while. It's a fun little caper film. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it already. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the last one we have here, actually, because we're only looking at two movies. The horror comedy Idle Hands. So I kind of see this as kind of the comedic version of that infamous Jeff Fahey movie, Body Parts, where he basically gets into an accident. He ends up getting an arm that belongs to a serial killer, and it goes around killing people. But that one was played up straight. This one is played up for laughs, as you can tell from that trailer. But you have the story about this stoner teenager played by Devon Sawa, and whose hand becomes possessed and goes on a killing spree, even after being cut off from his arm. And it is certainly a very intriguing idea, one that I think was definitely ahead of its time, because when this movie came out, it got panned by critics. It was a bomb at the box office. It only made back $4 million of its $25 million budget, which this movie probably should have made a lot more money to it, honestly, but it has gone on to have a massive cult following over the years, and I think that some people say it was because of what had happened that same month. We had the Columbine High School massacre. Columbia Pictures thought they were going to have to delay the film, ultimately canceled the premiere and saw many theaters where the school shooting happened, deciding not to show the film, and that was probably why it got so panned at the beginning and was not seen as a big hit because of that. But I don't know. I mean, they probably should have moved it to another time. This probably would have worked better as a Halloween movie, honestly. If it came out on Halloween weekend, I think people would have gone to see it then. But it has since gone on to have a cult following to it. It's a really clever, funny idea. I love this idea that this hand just goes around killing people, and it's just like there's no real reasoning behind it whatsoever. Why he picks this one guy to do it. And it's just like, it's so damn funny and so over the top, and you can tell they're putting effort into it because the visuals of, I mean, Seth Green with that thing in his head, like, that does not look like it was CG, or that looks like it's practical. Like, that looks well done. And, I mean, a lot of this movie is so damn funny. I mean, good cast overall. Seth Green is also in here. Jessica Alba, you see there. Vivica A. Fox. Fred Willard also shows up in here, as does Kelly Monaco. The Offspring are in here too. You hear the song the song goes on, all the girlies say I'm pretty fly for a white guy, which is a fun, cheesy 90s song, but I love it in every way, shape, or form. It's a really funny movie, man. I really enjoyed this movie a whole lot. It's a funny horror comedy. It definitely was ahead of its time, and it probably should have been released later on down the road, especially considering what had just happened at that point. But I'm glad people came around to it. I'm glad there is an audience that's building to this, because it is a really funny movie. And quite honestly, I really need to get a physical copy of this movie. I really want to watch this movie again in time for Halloween. But if you haven't seen Idle Hands, definitely check it out. It's actually a pretty fun movie. I should also mention before I go here, the director of this was Rodman Flender, who did, his last film was Leprechaun 2, and he also did the original Unborn, but he's most known, at least to me, as the director of the brilliantly funny documentary Conan O'Brien Can't Stop, where they talked about Conan's trip tour that he did in between the Tonight Show and his TBS show. Definitely see that one if you haven't seen that one already, and then go see this one too. Idle Hands, highly recommend checking it out. It's definitely worth a watch. And so on that note, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Only one movie to look at next time, and one movie to come out to officially start the summer 1999 movie season, which would be arguably one of the best summers of all time, and it starts off with Brendan Fraser's The Mummy, so we'll take a look at that on the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit the place on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So with that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.